I love reading the Bible, but it's Friday. My week has been full, I'm tired. How do you keep going reading a foreign and ancient language when your mental energy is low? Hi, my name is Pete, and in 2024 I'm reading the whole Bible in its original languages, Hebrew, Aramaic and Greek, using a reading plan that I wrote myself, which is available in an e-reader I've released for free. I've had a really busy week, I'm homeschooling my children, I'm applying for positions for the future, I'm trying to work on several projects right now, and in this context, I'm trying to read the Bible in its original languages in a year. At least some of the audience for these videos is trying to do the same thing, or at least read some Hebrew or Greek every day. And at some point, you're trying to read, you're trying to keep it up, but you're just tired, busy, you hit a patch of really difficult material, and when that happens, I find myself forgetting really basic things. Mental exhaustion is just punishing. Here are 3 tips that I find helpful to keep me reading when that happens. First, have a reading plan. The more structures you create for yourself, the less barriers there are to reading material each day. It makes it easier. That's why I created my Bible reading plan. My plan is designed to keep the average difficulty of the material about the same throughout the year and give you a variety of different ththings to read each day. I don't just read 5 or 6 chapters of the same book. Each day I read some Torah, some former prophets, some latter prophets, some Sifrei Emet, some Daniel or Ezra with the Aramaic portions spread out over the year, some of the rest of the writings, that's Chronicles and Nehemiah, some Gospels and Acts for the first 2/3 of the year, Matthew, Mark and Luke in parallel, for the last third of the year, John and Acts, and some epistles. Now there are so many different reading plans, pick one that fits your strengths and weaknesses. The reason I developed this one is that I find reading lots of smaller passages with lots of variety each day really helps me to maintain my attention a lot better than reading 5 or 6 chapters of the same thing each day. That's just me though, other people will be different. Another reason I wanted a reading plan like this was that I wanted a plan where I was reading certain texts all the way through the year. So the Torah, the Gospels, a bit of Aramaic every couple of days. My second tip is this: have a reader with the passages that you need to read each day already split up. The reason I produced a Bible reader is because from my experience, trying to follow a reading plan by keeping bookmarks in a Bible adds an extra psychological layer that makes the process take a bit longer each day, can be discouraging, and when you're tired you inevitably make mistakes by reading too much or too little on a given day. All the passages I need to read each day to get through the Bible in a year are already set out for each day in the reader. I don't need to worry about how far I'm reading, finding the beginning and end verse on the page or things like that. Those sound like tiny things, but when you're tired and reading foreign languages, they add up. In addition, I've put glosses for every lexeme immediately after each passage. So when I hit a word I don't recognize, I don't need to go flicking around for a dictionary or jump around on my reading device with hyperlinks or things like that. Reading the Bible in a year is like a marathon, and when you prepare for a marathon, you put a running plan in place to make the experience as easy and frictionless as you can. You wear something comfortable. You don't carry things around unless you need to. It's the same when trying to read the Bible in a year. Make the experience as pleasant for yourself as you can. 3. When tired, get through the text mechanically. So all of us would love to be so fluent in Hebrew, Greek and Aramaic that reading the Bible is super easy and comes naturally, and every day we're seeing incredible linguistic and exegetical insights. But the reality is 99% of us are not like that. And we all have tired days when we just struggle to push through. When that happens, I have some mechanical processes that I do to help me step through the text and get the most out of it that I can. Here are 3 of them to end with. First, a tip for reading Hebrew narrative is to go through a passage, read, understand, and translate just the first word in each verse. Then for the rest of the verse, just sound out the words verbally without bothering to try and understand them. You will get a broad picture of roughly what's going on in the story, and you'll get a glimpse of blocks of Vayak-Tol verbs and when they are broken up. You'll mostly just be dealing with verbs, and you'll very quickly improve your parsing skills with those. At the same time, by sounding out the rest of the verse, you'll be improving your reading fluency. And reading the text this way will get you through your reading a lot quicker, which is perhaps what you need to do if you've had a disrupted morning or something. Second, a tip for reading Greek is to use modern Greek pronunciation rather than Erasmian pronunciation. Now, I know that making that suggestion will make some people want to crucify me, but whatever your feelings about the debates about first century pronunciation, modern Greek pronunciation generates a lot less cognitive load. If you've been using Erasmian for years, then for the first few days, switching will feel a bit clunky, but you'll very quickly feel the difference. And if you try and do a Greek accent while you do it, then actually the Greek feels a lot more authentic in your mouth and can make the experience a little bit more fun for you. My final mechanical tip is to give yourself permission to skim read some passages. For example, I find reading the book of Job really hard, and if I'm struggling to concentrate, then I sometimes give myself permission to do this. Since I'm reading at least 8 passages a day, I always make sure that I concentrate for at least 2 or 3 of them every day. At least 1 Hebrew passage, 1 Greek, and if possible, 1 Aramaic verse. Many days I'm reading all the passages for that day clearly and drinking everything in. But it's also true that many days I just don't have the stamina or the time to do that. So I make sure that I read a passage in each language with special care and then allow myself to skim read over some of the other passages. Here's some skim reading tips. First, I can make sure that I pronounce out loud all the words similar to what we did for the first tip earlier. Or I can look at each word and then if I know what it means, say the English to myself, and if not, then just move on. Or I can glance at each word in the verse and try and spot one thing about its grammar. Is it a noun, a verb, something else? And then allow myself permission not to go any further. There's all sorts of skim reading games you can play to get yourself through the text if you're tired or out of time. All you got to do is give yourself permission to do it. Reading the whole Bible in a year in the original languages is a challenge, and I hope these tips help you step through the process and see each day as a step forward in success, that you can see your Hebrew, Aramaic and Greek competency build day on day as you do so. So if you want to read the rest of the Bible with me in 2024 in the original languages, then details on my Bible reading plan in EPUB Reader, which is free to download and use, can be found in the description below. And if you like the video, please like the video. And if you want to get video updates on my whole Bible read through in the original languages in 2024, hit subscribe and turn on notifications. Thanks for watching.